Welcome to the Business for Aligned Women podcast. I'm Honey. I'm a coach working primarily with women and specializing in aligned business, personal transformation, and embodiment. Each week here I'll be sharing business strategy, business advice, tips and tools for you to think more deeply, for you to get more self-aligned, and for you to start your week in the most conscious and intentional way possible. This week, I am sharing 3 really expansive tips for you to start showing up online. And this is a part 1 because I know that this is going to be an ongoing series. I did want to let you know that I have recently started sending out a series on my emails. I don't know if it's going to be monthly. It'll probably be every second month, called Matcha Thoughts. And these are my monthly thoughts about things that are happening in my community or trends that I'm seeing in my clients. And this is a space where I'm a bit more blunt, honestly. If you think I'm blunt on the podcast, I'm more blunt in those emails. And I know that my bluntness and my directness is part of my medicine. And it's the main reason why most people choose to work with me. And a lot of the women that I work with do need a bit of a butt kick, and those butt kicks happen in that email. I always make sure that I'm very complimentary. So even though I might say, get it together, you're not conducting yourself like a grown adult woman, I will also say, you're really smart, you can do this. Don't think it's all bad, and it will probably just be a little kickstart in your email every month or so. And the one that I've sent, the most recent one, has been all around showing up online. If you struggle with showing up online, I suggest that you jump on my emails and start receiving those reminders. I'm sure it's something that I will continue to be talking about. Before we get into it, if you struggle to show up online, something that is probably happening is you don't know what you're supposed to be marketing. And you probably don't know who you're actually talking to. If that rings true to you, or you struggle to come up with things to say in order to sell and market your product or your offer, jump into the Magnetic Mastermind, which is happening in September. There's only a few weeks left to sign up. This is an intimate group coaching container over 1 full month with weekly live sessions and weekly projects or homework for you to complete in between the sessions. We will be going through all of the marketing principles, basics, pillars that you absolutely need to have established in your business. And I did have someone ask me this week, they're in a different time zone and it's really not going to work for them to show up live. I have in the past had many people sign up for things, even though they couldn't show up live, do the sessions in their own time, send me through questions that I respond to in the next session, and they've got a ton out of it. So please don't let that stop you from signing up if it is something that you are really wanting to do. It's only 4 or 5 hours of live calls. So I think it is something that you can fit into your schedule over that month, or maybe over a 2-month period. It is happening in September and it is billed at 444 Australian dollars. It's a really accessible price point, and it is the last time that I will be offering a container at that low price point. And there is an option to pay a little bit more to access a one-off 1-to-1 session with me. And that is the only way that you access me in a one-off session. If you're starting your business, if you have hit a period in your business with low sales, if you don't feel confident in marketing, this container is for you. So please join up. There will be a link in the show notes. If you have any questions at all on this, please send me a DM. I would absolutely love to talk to you about it. And if you have any questions or any hesitations, just reach out. All right, let's get into these 3 ways to start showing up online. Number 1. So obviously everyone is going to say, stop caring about what other people think. And that's easier said than done. Look, I am someone who doesn't care about what other people think. I do get worked up if people are projecting on me in a way that is like very disjointed to reality. That really does get me worked up. But in terms of like so-and-so thinks I'm dumb or I'm tacky or cringe or whatever. I don't care about that at all. And I think that's about being autistic. I think it's about part of my personality. It made a massive positive difference when I was dating. And it was also something that made my dating blog that I had 8 years ago very, very, very popular, because people didn't have this example of someone who just didn't give a fuck. So, and really allowed people to take it or leave it. But I'm going to give you a little tip, and I think a little key to getting over caring about what other people think. And this is probably going to be a bit of a butt kick to you if this is something that you do. One of the main reasons why I don't care what other people think is because I don't spend time judging other people. And most people who are a bit more established in whatever they're doing won't judge other people. They always say that competition happens at the bottom, collaboration happens at the top. I admire people. I think people are expansive. I think, oh, wow, they did that. That's a great idea. How can I incorporate a similar concept into what I'm doing? Or I just look at people for inspiration. But I don't judge whether I think their stuff or them is good or bad. And I can guarantee you, the less critical you are to others, the less critical you will be to yourself. And if you are spending any time judging other people, that is probably a main reason that you're holding yourself back from being seen. There has been times with my clients where I've had to say, cut that out. You know, every time you talk about someone else who does the same thing as you, you speak poorly of them, you nitpick their work, you're critical, cut it out. It's a waste of time. It's poisonous. It's toxic. And if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. And even if there was another business coach who did something that I didn't like, I could definitely still find things that they do better than me, or that they do really well, or that I really admire. And harping on about the one thing that I don't like is just a waste of everyone's time and energy. The more that you stop being judgmental of others, the less you will care about what other people think. And I can even think personally, what I'm always walking through my life a little bit, what's the word? Laissez-faire, not thinking about what other people think of me, because I'm not thinking about how I think about other people. And then if something's come up where I found out that someone is thinking about me poorly, or they have judged me, it really knocks me for six, because it's just not part of my daily experience and not part of my life. So I strongly recommend that if showing up online or showing up or being seen is a problem for you, watch where you're judging other people, catch yourself, quit it, redirect it. Maybe something you could do if you're starting to judge people is like, oh, I don't like that about them. Try and pull out some positive qualities. And absolutely included in this is to stop gossiping about people negatively. I fully cut out gossip from my life last April, over a year ago. And yes, that meant that I didn't spend as much time with certain people. And yes, that meant that I lost quite a couple of friends. But it has given me back so much power and energy, because gossip is just such a massive drainer. And most of the time when we're gossiping, we're speaking negatively or judgmentally of others. I wrote here in my notes, you'll be surprised how much you'll stop overanalyzing yourself when you stop nitpicking others. Food for thought. If that has hit something in you, please send me a DM, because I want to know. And I think it's helpful for shadow things like this to just air it out. Okay, my second point, once you're over what other people care, you're no longer judging other people and you're redirecting that energy into your own creativity, batch create. I know everyone says it, not that many people do it. I batch create 31 a month's worth short form videos in 1 to 2 days, back to back. And then I don't have to think about it for the rest of the month. I batch create generally 2 months worth of podcasts in 1 day. And sometimes I'll record them in 1 day, but the editing process will take it over to 2 days. But then that's it. I don't have to think about my podcast for another 2 months. And if I was to be trying to create things on a whim that week, and I have done that in the past, it's incredibly draining. It makes you feel like you're, back at the drawing board. Apologies if you hear cinnamon snoring in the background. And it just makes you feel all over the place. Your task switching all the time. But by doing my short form video like that, my podcast like that, my EDMs, I do a month's worth or 5-6 weeks in one day, I can then relax for the rest of the time and I can do more strategic stuff. Or for instance, I've got a training that I'm undertaking that I can just finally get done. Whereas if I was trying to create content on the ground running, I know I would feel really, really overwhelmed. And also, I think that when you batch create, it allows you to stay focused on why you're doing it and your goal. For instance, you should always be having a reason for your content, and your content should always have some kind of connection to your business. And as I am right now, if you're specifically launching something, every single piece of content that you make should be able to link back to that offer that you're launching. And I find that if you sit and you batch, you're more able to do that. Whereas if you're doing it ad hoc here and there, you get really distracted or you come up with a new shiny idea, but it might not be actually doing what you need to be doing in your marketing, if that makes sense. Number 3, lucky last, basic, simple, Capricornian, make it a routine. And I would strongly suggest that you cycle sync this. There's some things in your business that I think you could do at any point in your cycle without making a drama. For instance, my EDMs, I could write them any month of the week. That is not something that I need to cycle sync because no one sees me. I can do it in my pajamas. It's something I enjoy doing. I always do it at a cafe. Like, it's not a big deal. If I and my clients try to either record a podcast or record short form content or take photos of themselves the week before their period or during their period, it will not happen. And the drama that ensues and the procrastination and all of the reasons and all the excuses that you come up are just wild and crazy. And if you just had cycle sync that to happen in the first 2 weeks of your cycle, or whenever you feel best in your cycle, because it is different depending on what's going on with your body, it's much more likely to happen. So stop trying to push shit up a hill and start scheduling that in where it's likely to feel okay to do. So for me, podcast, video, photos, first week of, or the second week of my cycle. The first 8 days of my cycle is when I feel my best. So I action pack those first 8 days. And then I know that in the second 2 weeks of my schedule, I'm going to feel pretty crappy. So that's when I'm doing more admin, more techie stuff, more back-end stuff. Definitely don't try to do what I call front facing when you're in a wanting to be a hermit mode. All right. Those are 3 main tips. We stop caring about what other people think. And the key to doing that is to stop being judgmental of others. Second, batch create. Third, make it a routine. Schedule it in your calendar as a recurring event and don't move it around. And maybe at the start of every month, just double check that that recurring event is in alignment with the best time of the month for you. If this has been beneficial for you at all, please don't forget to write a review and to leave a 5-star rating. And please also make sure that you're following me on Instagram at honeybashan coaching and on TikTok at honeybashan.com. There's so much value on my TikTok. If you've never been on it, there's something on TikTok called playlists, and it's basically where you can make a collection of your content that relates to a specific topic. If you are a business owner, jump on the Aligned Business playlist. If you're stressed out, jump on my Micro Rituals playlist. If you are feeling down in yourself, jump on my Affirmations playlist. There's so many goodies there for you.